Why, hello there, friends, and welcome back. My name is Navi, and today we're going to be taking a look at Am I the Asshole? Where OP decides that she does not, in fact, want to marry her twin sister's fiance.
This was given to us by a tiny pastel unicorn.
Am I the asshole for not wanting to pretend to be my twin on her wedding day? I, 30 female, have an identical twin sister, and for the purposes of anonymity, I'll call her Jess. Jess and I look so much alike it can be freaky. At one point, when we were still infants, they had to draw a little dot at the bottom of one of our feet, just so they could keep track of who was who for medical reasons. My mom adored the fact that Jess and I were her cute baby twin girls and treated us like precious dolls, who she would frequently dress alike and always made us do things together. At first, I didn't mind it at all because, well, it was my normal and I do genuinely love my sister, but when we started getting older and I developed my own interests, I would get so frustrated or upset when I either couldn't do something because Jess didn't want to, or the only way that I could do it is if Jess could come with me, and vice versa. It sucked because despite our appearances, Jess was the more extroverted twin who liked to go to parties and do sports, while I was introverted and artistic. I was always made to do what Jess wanted to do because me not wanting to be social was seen as bad, and the only way Jess would agree to do things or endure my hobbies was if I did her homework or her chores. Seems like a golden child to me. When my parents were divorcing, I was over the moon when my dad agreed to let me live with him in another state, and Jess didn't want to move away from all her friends. My mom cried when I had to tell her I didn't want to live with her, and Jess accused me of hating them. This really wrecked me emotionally, and I almost caved when my dad got me into therapy and helped me gather the courage to just leave. I never really did shake off the guilt until around senior year of high school, but I never once regretted my choice because of how liberating I felt by getting to just be me. Good for you, OP. I was slowly able to repair my relationship with my mom and Jess, but Jess and I were never as close as we used to be, and I was honestly fine with that. Understandable. Fast forward to adulthood, and Jess is engaged to her boyfriend Steve, 36 male, and their wedding is set for this spring. Unfortunately, Jess was recently in a bad accident, and her face is going to need to get cosmetic surgery. Poor thing. Oh no, I see where this is going. She's been crying on and off for days over this because there's still no way she'll be healed up in time for the wedding. My mom, Steve, and I have been trying to console her, but it's not enough. Understandable. Earlier this week, my mom approached me with the idea of dressing up as Jess and pretending to be her for the ceremony and reception so the pictures will look nice. I was floored and I gave a hesitant no, because while I do know that this would mean a lot to my sister, I just feel really uncomfortable about it. My mom was upset with me and said it wasn't a big deal, it was just for the pictures, and asked me if I really wanted to make it so that Jess would have to be reminded of her trauma whenever she had to look at her wedding photos, or just not have any photos at all. Am I the asshole? ETA, okay, because I've already seen this in 2 other comments, I just wanted to be clear about some things. Jess and Steve's wedding is a book at their dreams venue, and if they postpone, which is about 3 weeks, they won't be able to book it again until around 2025. And families on both sides are coming from out of state. Apparently, between the wedding costs and needing to save up for cosmetic surgery, Steve and Jess don't have the money to pay for a professional Photoshop. That's unfortunate. We live in America, and as far as I know, since Jess's surgery is purely for cosmetic purposes, health insurance may not cover it, if any at all. My mom was the only one who actually approached me about this, so I don't know for sure if Jess and Steve know about the idea. And honestly, I'm a little anxious of actually talking to them about this, in case they're on board and they start pressuring me into agreeing as well. ETA 2. Sorry for not clarifying. What my mom is proposing that I do is that I wear her wedding dress, and she wears whatever I was going to wear, and then I just stand in for her when it's time to walk down the aisle, do the entrance at the reception, first dance, bouquet toss, and photo time. I wouldn't actually be doing the vows.
Why? Why would you do that?
Just every other part of the wedding, you know, all of the parts that Jess is looking forward to. You're gonna be doing that? That doesn't make any sense. Wow, this is one wild story. But thankfully, there's an update. Update. Thank you all for your advice and suggestions, as well as the affirmation that I have a right to say no. Still dealing with residual guilt about refusing to do things for my mom. So I reached out to Steve first about suggesting Photoshop, and it turns out he and Jess were already considering that before deciding to just postpone the wedding, as Jess is dealing with PTSD from the accident and doesn't believe that she's going to be able to handle the stress of a wedding in 3 weeks. Understandable, poor thing though. I was so relieved, and I told Steve that I would be more than happy to help getting the word out to people that the wedding wasn't happening right now. For the sake of peace and Jess's mental health, I've decided to keep what my mom said about using me as a replacement for the wedding photos to myself for now. Jess is really going through a lot, and I feel like this would be like rubbing salt in the wound. Okay, so from what I understand, replacing your sister in these photos and down the aisle and the entrance and the first dance was all your mother's idea, and your sister had no clue. So apparently to your mother, it meant more that her daughter's wedding photos looked nice than her daughter actually had a nice wedding, which is very, very awful. What the heck? She would rather see you walk down the aisle looking just like your sister than see your sister walk down the aisle with scars on her face. That's really messed up. OP, I really think you should consider going no contact with your mom. And maybe your sister should do the same. It seems like your mom is making the relationship between the two of you a little bit rocky. And you might have a better chance of mending that if your mom's not standing in the way, pretending like you're the same person, or still pretending like you're her little matching twin dolls. That's really, really messed up. Well, that was certainly wild, wasn't it? Thank you all for joining me along this crazy, crazy ride, and honestly, I hope that you have a good day. I love you all so very much. Bye-bye.